not taken care of equally by having to come up here every time. I understand the traffic and everything else, and we north of the Broad ought to get some of that pain as well.
Yeah, I agree, Dick. And the important thing is that it's not fair to the parents and our constituents that it's always one-sided. It's not.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so we'll leave that. We had the discussion why it is what it is. Then we've got the usual disclaimers. That all looks fine. So we're down to executive session starting at 5 o'clock. And what would those items be, Dr. R?
So I believe, knock on wood, we've got a shorter executive session than we've seen the last couple of weeks. So we've got a legal update for you on an item, and then we have 3 8% roof replacement projects that are going to come forward. One for Bluffton Middle School, one for Okeechobee Elementary, and one for Whale Branch Elementary.
Okay. And Wendy, you're with us, right?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so I know you spoke that Gene Matthews has some new information, or is that something you can present?
I can ask Mr. Matthews if he is available, and if he's not, I can present that information to you. Then we would have 2 pending. We have, two pending legal claims.
So it sounded like legal update too. Yeah.
So
That would be part of it.
Receipt of legal advice regarding 2 pending legal claims.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. She said instead of updates, have advice, legal advice.
And I'll get all the wording from her. I'm just using it as a placeholder currently.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yes, I'll
So
send
then
it to Robin. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And then we're into the public session at 6 o'clock in our usual agenda order there. Student performance.
And student performance is based off of where we are holding our meeting.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So that may be 1, maybe 2, it may change. So I have to let them know where our meeting is going to be held.
Okay. And then we have points of celebration, and I'd like to include on that list the tribute to Earl Campbell that was played at the African American Conference on Saturday.
And once again, points of celebration, the list might be shortened or whatever they said, depending on where we're holding our meeting.
Yeah. All righty. Then we have first public comments. The chair report to include an update on the SCSBA annual conference that's later this week. I can't think of anything else. Our committee reports, finance and operations.
Yeah, I'll be giving reports on both of those.
Yes, you will be.
I'm trying, we have recommendations to put a lot into the consent agenda. I'm going to try to get that taken care of and mention it in the report. But we have, since we didn't have meetings for about 2 months, we have quite a bit of stuff. Like finance committee tomorrow, or operations.
Yeah.
We had finance committee already. We had a number of issues to bring up. We've got some OEs and some other things to look at tomorrow, but these are going to be relatively long, but I'll try to condense them as much as possible.
Okay.
I don't think there's nothing real controversial
Okay.
that I anticipate. You might find something tomorrow, but nothing from the finance is controversial.
Okay. So then we're on to the superintendent's report, Dr. Rodriguez.
Yep. So we will have something under student achievement. I'm not able to, settle on that yet because I'm waiting to see if the state has a release of the designations that they've gone back and forth on about 20 times. So they have not released anything yet. So if they do, we'll have an update for the board on that. If not, we will have a different student achievement update. So we will have something for the board on student achievement. The second item we will have is on 23-24, just a budget process update for the board.
Okay, so that would be under goal 3 though,
Function.
right?
Oh,
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just leave the student achievement bullet blank for right now.
will
Correct.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will have
Okay.
something, but it'll just depend on whether we
What's
have
in-
the
yeah.
other.
Okay. And anything under other matters?
No.
Nope. Okay. And board business action, we don't think another review of the book of appeals would be ready, correct, Dr. R?
I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is this Thursday, there's, I believe, another 10 books that committees will be meeting on. And then it will, depends on how long it takes them to file an appeal if they decide to file an appeal.
Mhm.
They have 7 days to do that, I believe it is. And if they do, then we may have it, or it may be on the following meeting, but then the board has 15 days after an appeal has been filed. So at this juncture, the answer is we don't have anything at this
Okay.
juncture.
All right. And then currently on the consent agenda, we have the,
Dick's hand,
oh, sure.
Dick's hands
Dick,
up.
go ahead.
Back to board business action.
Yeah.
We have, should report to the board about the negotiations with the county about the Lepico property.
Okay.
And so where do you think that would be best on the agenda?
I think it's a business action.
Okay, yeah,
It's not, there's no competition, there's no competitive bids or anything. It's simply a joint action with the county.
okay,
So, but we should at least let the public know that we're doing it.
yeah.
There
So what is it proposed joint?
eco property transfer. Probably be right. Do you think that is the right way to say it, Dr. Rodriguez?
I think if it's just a transfer, that would, probably be right. If it's a sale, that's a different thing, right?
When you look at our options for the state statute, sale is probably won't apply. I think there could be some monetary differences between the two governmental agencies, but I don't think sale would seem to be that we're going to put it out on the open market, which I don't believe that's what we're thinking about doing.
Okay.
I'll respond, Dick, because I was at the SCSBA regarding that language about I've forgotten, once you have, I want to say assets, property assets that are not being utilized by the school district for, I think it was 4 years or something to that effect. Probably Wendy knows the details of it. The way it's worded, you almost think it cannot be a sale, and that is not correct. So I don't know if this is something actually that should be discussed in executive session, because it's a potential real estate transaction. I think that might be the better place for it. Wendy?
And Tanya's on as well.
I think part of it too is there's a date in that legislation or whatever it is that anything purchased or owned prior to a certain date doesn't fall within that legislation. Anything after that and I think it's a 1950 something date.
On it well before then.
Yeah.
So it doesn't apply to us according to Robert. That they looked at it, and because we purchased it back in the 30s, we don't have to abide by, we're grandfathered, so to speak.
Well, my preference, and you know, I certainly wasn't privy to the conversation regarding this proposed property transfer, but I think it's something that we need to discuss in executive session with the board, as opposed to just out there in the business section, since it's a potential negotiation of real estate.
And there's another issue that probably ought to go up there as well, and that's the possibility of a TIF in that same area.
Couldn't hear
Sorry,
you.
I didn't hear what you said, Dick. The second part.
Yeah, there's a proposal that some people are talking about, and it has to be an executive session.
Okay.
About a possible tax infrastructure fund, TIF, like we have in
Uh-huh.
Whale Branch area.
So put Labico property up in executive session as well.
That's my preference. If we want to vote on it, we can vote on it, but it's definitely one of the well-recognized FOIA exemptions when you're talking, you don't have negotiating, how should I say, abilities if you're going to put it right out in the public. That's, that's why I would not do it under board business action.
Discussion of proposed negotiations regarding real estate
Yeah.
transactions. That's correct. Dr. Watts is covered by FOIA to be discussed in executive session.
Yeah. Thank you, Wendy.
Real estate property transfer, real estate transfer. Yeah.
Did you want to add anything, Tanya, to that?
I don't think Tanya was
Okay.
engaged in that aspect of it.
Okay.
So
I see you're there.
Yeah.
I can reach out to Robert and get up to speed on that issue and join you in executive session. I think that's an appropriate place for the discussion.
Thank you.
I was going to say, but she will be now.
Well, Brian Nurick has been involved, so, as far as the TIF, the finance piece.
So on that property?
Just about the process of establishing a TIF, since it hasn't been
TIF, okay.
years since one has been established. And Brian can talk us through the issues about.
Yeah, so then we need him he needs to be included and available for the executive session for the TIF. Okay. Any other board business action from the officers?
No.
All right, so let's go to our future agenda topics.
Am I rolling it too fast?
No.
Robin, the discussion of legislative bills was Mr. Campbell.
Okay.
And Tina, those were the bills that they discussed when the legislative committee presented to us last Tuesday.
Yeah.
A total of 4 of them that need to be discussed during the work session.
Okay, perfect. So we have that on there. The communication with communities, Carlton's suggestion, I think that would also be excellent work session. Material. the Levico property, you can put this board meeting. February. Yeah, 21, okay. And is it just this one page, Robin?
No, yes, yes.
Okay. So process and procedures for disciplinary action. That's Chloe's, who's on here with us.
Mhm. Did you
We've
mean
done-
put work session or?
Yeah, work session would be fine. It's just a question about how parents are notified. And I do know that it's in the student handbook, I believe. But the question came up, a parent, didn't know. And I know sometimes they don't read, but just so that we are also clear when we're telling the public what that should be. I think I spoke with Dr. Rodriguez about
Mhm.
the notification processes. And I know that parents are notified verbally and in, written form as well. But sometimes just because they're told and they don't get it in writing, they're saying they weren't told, but they were, So just a question about how we do that. That's all.
Okay,
And we do have it posted on the website.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think I'm supposed to be giving notice to Ms. Gordon during the registration process as well, but I'll check on that. Thank you for letting us know.
Okay, thank you.
so work session.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Chloe. And assessment results, Carlton?
William's hands up.
Go ahead, William.
My question was, I think just for an information basis, I think that could be something that could be done in an actual board meeting, so that parents and people who are there can also see it and understand it. And I think that should be more of a presentation from the superintendent and staff. I think that could be done in an actual board meeting.
So does, what's the desire of the committee? Vice Chair and Secretary?
I
You
have
want to
no-
vote or make a motion or?
I have no problem doing it at a normal board meeting. I don't think this would take a whole lot of time.
I agree.
And it seems like it would be under not board business action, but under the superintendent's report.
Mhm.
I don't think we have time this month. I mean, the next month. First one in March, perhaps?
Yeah, what, Dr. R, what do you think that would require for preparation? Is that something? you
No,
can
I think
hammer
that's
out
fine.
for-
March is fine.
Okay, I'm good with that too. So if there are no objections, that's where we'll assign it. Okay. And then assessment results, Carlton, do you want to speak about that?
Yes.
think-
I'm sorry, Dr.
Go
Rodriguez.
ahead.
No, I was
Mhm.
just going to say, Carlton, this is your, Mr. Downs, this is your item, but I understood the item not really to be specifically about assessment results, but to be about just various different metrics within the system. And I understood it the way I understood it, though, I think it would be more of a work session item.
Yes, if you want me to go ahead now.
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. So you could actually title it Management by Results. And it is, I think it would be a work session item because it basically is trying to identify what are the key high impact metrics that we might want to track. The staff and the superintendent might want to track to help them get a visual of the what's happening and very quickly, sort of like the assessment report, but targeting different performance and operating metrics, financial metrics, those types of things. And it might make it easier on the leadership and staff to actually manage the business very, very efficiently.
Sounds good. So I think that finishes our outstanding agenda topics review. Then we have our usual remainder of the agenda, the announcements, second public comments, and adjournment. And that looks correct at the end there. All right. So anything further about this meeting?
Madam Chair, whenever it's time for the non-committee members to speak, I do have one point might be beneficial.
Go ahead.
The Economic Development Corporation just held a large meeting at Pinckney Hall, and they evidently took care of all of the audio visuals that took place there. I don't know specifically what the needs are in terms of reporting or streaming or what have you. They might be a place that could help accommodate the issue of a meeting south of the Broad.
And that's in Hampton Hall?
That is actually in Sun City.
Sun City, okay.
And they accommodated 350, 375 people at that meeting. And
Do you know when did you have to, you must have had to have a pass to get in there though, right?
yes, what they do is they provided the pass electronically to all of the people who responded RSVP that they would attend. We could print it out. And if some person forgot to print it out, then you could actually obtain a pass at the gate. They certainly would prefer that, you know, as we did, that people print the passes out and just show them because it's a pretty large meeting venue with very strong audio visuals. The second point, Madam Chair, is I'm actually taping a TV segment tomorrow at WHHI. And so, you know, I'm not trying to interject myself, but if it comes up, I will certainly, if the leadership so desires, encourage them to be very frugal in their estimate, if that's not improper.
I like that. So, Dr. Rodriguez, do you want to see about the Pinckney Hall possibility? I see having to have a pass is a real issue for the public, because I bet you some public doesn't want to have to acquire a pass, for example. Any comments, Dr. R?
Yeah, I would be happy to connect with them. I think I do agree with you to be somewhat cautious about if a pass is going to inhibit anybody or not inhibit anybody, but cause individuals to say that we're excluding people or trying to exclude people or anything like that, you know, which I think, as Mr. Dallas pointed out, it was I think they make it pretty easy to obtain one. However, I'm happy to look into that and see what we can find.
That sounds great. And I would just say the sooner the better for us.
Sure.
Okay. So our next order of business, let me just double check. No hands up. Nope. All right. Our next order of business is to determine the date of the next agenda setting meeting. And go ahead.
The next one would have been on Monday, the 27th, but Lynn Stokes, the legislative committee, is going to meet on that day at 4:30 because that's the day that Lynn Stokes Murray can come. So I was going to propose if agenda setting can be the 28th on that Tuesday at 5 o'clock.
Just let me look in my calendar, please.
I'm available.
Yes, I'm available.
There's technology committee, but it should be.
It's at 3. Yeah, it's at 3. And then agenda would be at 5.
All right.
I think just from my end, just a reminder, if we push into Tuesday, in terms of staff getting items to Robin, we may need to push beyond Thursday on that week.
Well, our other option is to do it before or after the legislative committee meets.
I won't be available.
Pardon me?
If it's before the legislative meeting, I won't be available.
Yeah, exactly. I know you have a time constraint. Yep.
Mhm.
Dr. Guads, I think it's okay. I'm just throwing that out there as in essence, really to just ask for some consideration if individual division has an issue.
Okay.
That's all.
And Tina,
All
if
right.
you need to do it on Monday and I'm not there, it's okay.
Yeah, but I think I would prefer to schedule a meeting where I can accommodate the 3 of us as opposed to 2 of us. I just think it's better if all 3 of us are participating. And I'm fine with the Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and we'll just try to be understanding of Dr. Rodriguez's concern.
May not be an
Dick.
issue, but if it is, I'm just asking for consideration on that. That's all.
Yeah. And Dick, you were okay with Tuesday, the 28th at 5 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, and we'll do it via Zoom again.
Yes, ma'am.
That seems to work well for us.
Mhm.
All right. So that's the next meeting. Do we have any other items we need to discuss tonight regarding agenda setting?
No, ma'am.
Okay, there being none, we can adjourn by unanimous consent, and thank you for everyone who's in attendance.
Thank you.
All those in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Aye.
Right. Good
Thank you.
evening. Bye.
Thank you all.